guys. I think today I want to talk about a lot of the fallen soldiers that happened while I was overseas. It was a lot of the IEDs. The guys got hit by. Or the first IED that hit one of our guys. Call William. I don't know if he wants his name given out or not. First triple amputee to survive an IED, and it was, I'd have to say, under a month by the time when we arrived. I think it was like 3 weeks. Lost both of his legs, and his one arm, I believe, his left arm. It was a kind of reality check on our end. How real this is, basically, and obviously he got medevaced out and then taken to Germany and then back home. Obviously, he's doing well as far as I know. I can only imagine the psyche when that happens, especially in the beginning of the incident. The first IED that the guys from our platoon got involved with, very first patrol, literally they were walking. The IED was on the other side, from the way they explained it, was on the other side of the wall. So it was on the corner, it was on this side, and they're coming out this side. So as they're walking, the IED goes off, he falls back, no one got hit. That wall, bad timing on the Taliban's part, obviously. But the very first patrol, and Scott is one guy, he basically says, I can't believe it. There's no way. First patrol. So no one got hurt. I don't believe they got attacked after that. Usually with an IED, there's usually a small arms fire, but I don't think there was any. Another incident was so the month of December was our worst month. They end up sending 2 of their best guys after our team specifically. When we do these patrols, the interpreter would pick up the radio chatter from their end. He had a scanner, and one patrol was basically, we're in the cemetery, and he's telling us to stop, and he's hearing the guy saying, he's like, okay, let's plant an IED for these guys, but the guy responding is like, they're moving too fast. So now you're like, okay, let's pick things up. At least, speed is on our side. The odd thing was, it's like you're looking around and you're like, you can't see anyone. Like, who's watching us? Like, nobody was in sight. So we carried on with the patrol, nothing happened. So it's things like that, you're constantly on edge. There's you'd hear IEDs of guys, a tank just finishing a patrol not too far from our location, just south of us, maybe 300-400 meters, and then you see this plume of smoke, and then you look, and the tank was able to take the hit, no problem. As far as I know, no one got injured. This was maybe 2 or 3 months into our tour, but December was pretty hectic. There was I was kind of, you start to think of higher powers. Do they exist? Do you believe in them? If they do, are they watching over you? And then there's some, it's like, how could you not? And then some people just don't at all, right? But where there was one ID that I was close to being part of, We were doing a patrol. One of our major wanted to do, I guess, a ride along. He spent the night with us, and so I'm geared up, ready to go for the morning culvert checks for the IED patrol, and I'm just sitting by the vehicle, just waiting. Now I have to be the last one into the vehicle because I have to be the first one out because of my light machine gun. You want that firepower coming out if in the event you have to come out, right? So as we're waiting, our Master Corporal Martel, amazing guy, he kept us alive, absolutely. He kind of told me, he's like, hey Jose, the major wants to tag along. He's like, he'll just take your spot. We're good. You can just sit this one out. And not thinking much of it. I'm like, okay. So guys mount up, and then we're just kind of on, just listen to the radio kind of thing. And we're downstairs in the radio room, which is slash our sleeping quarters slash everything. But about, I like to say 5-10 minutes into their patrol, your IED goes off. And rush up to, grab my gun and rush up to the rooftop and trying to get eyes on and figure what's going on. And like we have no vehicles to go help them out, but the Afghan police, they have a couple, so they go out. You're at that point where it's like, you want to go out and help them, but if you go out and help them, then the police station is not being defended. So it's like this mindset, you want to go and help, and you're just stuck between a rock and a hard place, and it's extremely frustrating because it's your team that's out there. So you listen to the radio and you're hoping for the quick reaction force to go out and help them, and they're taking forever. So hearing on the radio, contact, wait out. Eventually, the Afghan police go out, help them out. They were really good. They almost immediately they went out to help them out. But just our guys took forever on base. You hear small arms fire, and then you just kind of listen on the radio, hoping everyone's okay. Like if you hear a 9-liner is basically it's medevac. 9 lines is basically 9 lines of information for the medevac to come and assist them and find them and all that stuff. So when they came back, they had to go back to base. They got checked out. Everyone was fine. Everyone made it through. They came back and they told us exactly what happened. So the driver, Pick, great guy. As they're driving along, now we're driving these RG31s or Nyalas, or South African school buses. They got the V bottom, so when the ID goes off, the blast gets deflected, so it's not as impactful. So as they're driving along, these vehicles were horrible off-roading. So when we did go off-roading, it's extremely slow. You're just driving really slow and taking your time. So he's about to hit this ditch, and he tells everyone, hold on, because they might hit hard, they might get stuck. But he just tells everyone, hold on. So when he tells everyone to hold on, the IED goes off. When the IED goes off, guys get rattled. The back door swings open. All the concussion, the pressure makes its way out the back, and sorry, I dropped my pair. And our Master Corporal Martel basically just yells out, "Kill everything that effing moves." So the guys on the machine gun start hammering, looking at targets, and they start hammering. Gun goes down, open the hatch, have to go manual, start hammering at the Taliban. Taliban leaves. Engineers come by, and they're telling us that there was a leak at the bottom vehicle. Given the explosion, because of that leak, had that door been locked, everyone in that vehicle would have been dead. I guess because of the pressure. This is what the engineers were saying. The fact that I was pulled out last minute not to go into that vehicle, I always had a habit of locking the back door. It was always a habit. The door was pressurized, so you can hit a button. There was air pressure, so it swings really fast and swings really open. It swings really fast, open and closes really fast. You just hit a button, it opens and closes. I always had a habit of locking that door. And then one time they hit the IED last minute. I was like, that's when you start to think, what's going on here? Is there a higher power? The hamster wheel starts going. So then, thank God everyone made it through. Obviously, we took the rest of the day. The guys took the rest of the day off. Another incident was actually, speaking of that, heading back to going on vacation just sometime for November, the month of November, and you get back to Kandahar Airfield. You drop off your equipment, your ammo, your grenades, all that stuff, because you go on a plane and you go on your vacation. I end up going back home. Supposed to go to Thailand, but there's a big uprising, government uprising, and so I had to change my vacation. Anyways, I went back home. So when I drop off my ammo, my guns, my grenade, as I'm walking away, the sergeant at armament he's like, "There's no pin in this grenade." And I'm kind of laughing away. I'm not walking away laughing, like, haha, nice, good one. He's like, "No, there's no pin in this grenade." My heart dropped. Now, if you just look up a grenade, usually there's the spoon and the pin and the grenade, right? There's those three, that kind of trifecta that work together. So there's obviously the pin, and then there's the spoon, right? You pull the pin, the lever gets out or releases, and then you got 5 seconds, right, to toss that grenade. My grenade specifically had tape wrapped around the spoon. So when I originally received the grenade, I saw the pin, obviously, and the spoon. Now I saw the tape. I was like, "Oh, this is just insurance. It's like it's supposed to be, make sure this does not leave the grenade." Now, you see in the movies, guys pulling their pin with their teeth. No, they lose their teeth. You have to really pull hard on this thing. The only thing I can think of how that happened, how there was no pin, was that tape somehow loosened up that pin, and day after day wiggled, and then somehow came off. No idea why. It was left in my vest. Didn't touch it. Didn't look at it after that. Knew where it was, and that was it. But that happened, and it was in a pocket, and I buckled it in, and there was no way of it jumping out or anything like that. So no idea. But again, you start to think, it's like, how the hell did this happen? Further to that, guys, I've started noticing guys with grenades. So with the pin, they would basically, on the other side, not where the ring was, on the other side of the spoon, guys would open up and kind of flatten out the pin to prevent that from happening, right? So you had to open that up, then pull the really reef on the pin, things like that. So back to the month of December with the amount of IEDs we found. It's a lot of IEDs we've located, and it got to the point where we were literally just on patrols, and guys would stick their heads into random abandoned houses and mud huts, and just can see all these artillery rounds. We're just, whoa, like, so, you know, we load up our vehicles, like, you know, this is what they're using for IEDs, obviously, right? So there's a big score on our end. Just luck of the draw, just sticking your head in and seeing it. Throughout the tour, you hear, you know, guys getting hit with IEDs in other locations and things like that. But the fact that, you know, the Taliban sent their best guys after us specifically was, you know, you got your motivation to, like, okay, you know, it's us versus them kind of thing. Obviously, it's a little personal now, right? So the month of December, we're pretty busy, and we had our warrant officer went on vacation, right, for the month of December. Coming back, he came back, he landed in Afghanistan December 25th, 2008. 26th, he came out to our police station. He's like, I'm back, right? So everyone's like, great, you know, we have our numbers again, kind of thing. You know, got to see our leader and all that stuff. December 27th. I remember that morning, so it was like 3, 4 in the morning. You hear small arms fire. Now, it's not uncommon to hear small arms fire throughout, you know, your tower duties, right? But it's so far at a distance, you're like, okay, it's not at us. Something's going on. You just kind of listen on the radio. You kind of, you know, if we're required. Is it this just Afghan police just shooting their guns? Is it the Taliban? You don't know. Everyone, like, you're just listening on the radio to see what's going on. You're not hearing anything. You hear it at the distance, but you're like, nah, it's not. You're not thinking much about it. The morning of, so later on that morning, around 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, give or take, I'm in our kitchen, just grabbing food, and one of the guys yells out. He's like, Jose, he's like, the police station to our west just got overrun. So I dropped what I'm doing, geared up, and then as I'm heading into the vehicles, the guys were like, you know, okay, we're good. Like, we have enough guys to go. You know, I'm staying behind, and it's, you don't think when you're stuck behind, it's, you know, you're like, okay, you know, someone has to stay behind, no big deal. I can probably count on maybe 1 or 2 hands how many times I got left behind, or so, I won't say left behind, but still to stand back. So I'm in the radio room / my bedroom, and just, you know, listen to the radio and just kind of, you know, hoping, you know, everything goes well. And then I can hear, I have to say maybe around 12 o'clock, give or take noon, this big explosion goes off. So big, the dust, you can see, like, the wave, the sound wave comes through our police station. Dust gets moved in. The police station to our west was, I'd like to say, maybe 2 clicks away. So hear it, you feel it, you listen to the radio, what's going on, and you're just like waiting, like, what's going on? You know, I hope it's not our guys. And then you hear 9-liner, hard drops. And when you hear 9-liner, don't touch the radio, just listen, right? Information's being passed back and forth. And you're just waiting. Who is it? Right? police are making their way back to the police station. And I'm yelling out, "Where's the interpreter? What's going on? Who is it?" And then one of the guys was like, he kind of says, "It was our warrant officer." And I just got so overwhelmed, and I didn't know what to do. And it was just like, okay, what do I do from here? And your mind starts, wondering, like, is it anyone else? I end up getting on the sad phone. I called my girlfriend, now wife. Called her, and hey, how's it going? She's like, good. She was at school, university at the time. And she asked what's wrong, and I said, well, are you free to talk later? And she's like, what's wrong? I broke down. I was like, he's gone, and just started crying, and I was like, he's gone. And me growing up without a dad, and he was just this really, great father figure, and massive guy, really bodybuilder size, and always, good mood, and yeah, it just broke down. It's just like, man, worst day of my life. The interpreter also, very first day, we had a new interpreter. Very first day, or sorry, not very first day, but very first patrol for him, passed away. He also got hit. Also, there was a sergeant, one of the engineers, also passed. He got hit. Warrant officer Gaetan Roberge was our warrant officer. He got hit. It was rough. The guys afterwards eventually came back to our police station. They gave us the details of what happened. And essentially, the police station got overrun. And they would leave one Afghan police stayed alive. Now, we don't know if he was working with the Taliban, but they just kept him alive for whatever unknown reason. But as they're picking up the bodies, our warrant officer was just helping with the body bags, kind of just like, just helping, just trying to do his part. And that was the best thing about him. Was, high rank as a high rank he was, he would do whatever job that needs to be done. He didn't care. And I just decided true leadership. That's the best kind, I believe. And our master corporal asked him, "Hey, Warren, you good?" He gave a thumbs up, and that's when the ID went off. Some guys were affected by it, obviously the mental side of it. But then, there's some guys who was actually one of the guys, Ben, walking towards our warrant officer to help out, and the ID went off, and then he when the ID went off, he started running away from the blast. But he had a severe injuries to his hearing, obviously. And then we did the ramp ceremony afterwards. That was rough. Carrying that casket, it was rough. Once we got onto the plane, once we're at attention, and once they kind of said at ease, and I broke down, and just like, rough, the worst day of my life. And the day after, obviously we want to go back. We have to go back to work, right? And then Ben, he couldn't get back in the vehicle. He was just he was so affected by it, he couldn't go back out. And we told him, get back in that vehicle, or you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. We ended up staying longer. We spoke to the mechanics and told them that tell them that the vehicles are grounded. We can't leave until they're repaired, basically. And he was on our side. He was on board with it. Our captain was a bit of a cowboy. He wanted to go back out there, and I understand you want to be out there with your guys. I get it, but we need to fix one of our guys right now. So we purposely messed with the vehicles to try to help them out. So we were there for a day or two. Once we're heading back to our police station, like, okay, Ben, let's go. You got geared up, suited up, foot on the step to get into that vehicle, and you couldn't do it. I'm like, Ben, get in there, or you're gonna regret it. You couldn't do it. Okay, then we're like, you're done here. I still keep in contact with him to this day. He regretted not going back in that vehicle. And he's got his opinions on therapists and psychologists. I get it, they want to help you. That's their job. But it's just, they just don't know, right? A lot of guys were affected by that. Again, when we meet up, the wives will come to my wife and basically say, hey, how's Jose doing? Things like that. And like, he's good. And the wives are like, yeah, our husbands are not talking. And this and the other. My wife's like, my husband talks about it. He's okay with it. And I think that's the biggest key. Is just let it out. Even with strangers, like, just let it out. Like, most people want to know what it was like. Just let it out. Tell them. Just talk to them. Because if you don't talk to them, they don't know, they're going to be ignorant to it, right? Just talk to them. People have their opinions on it. Fine, let them have their opinions, right? Another IED was a good friend of mine. Still keep in contact with him. Good spirits. Andrew. When he got hit with an IED, our vehicles, the day it happened, our vehicles were grounded. They're just going in one vehicle, and the other vehicle was being repaired, so you can't go out with one vehicle. You need minimum at least two. So the day when he got hit with an IED, it was really hard, because you hear this, nine-liner, and you're like, who is it? And then, we won't find out for a bit, but then, the medevac comes, all that stuff, talking to Andrew now. Amazing guy, heart of gold. He basically explains it as felt like he got a hockey check. And when he comes to, the dust is pluming, all that, and then he sees, some familiar faces around him, like Andrew, you okay? He's like, what the hell just happened, kind of thing. And the guys are, they're doing first aid on him, right? They're putting tourniquets on his leg. He got hit his right leg. So they're putting a tourniquet on it. I believe it was from his knee down. It was gone. But his leg was mangled. And he basically told the guys, which is the one thing I love about Andrew, he basically told the guys, like, is my dick still there? And the guys were like, yeah, it's there. He's like, no, I need you to check. Is my dick there? So they checked. He's like, your dick is still there. He's like, do what you can. Right? They did the first aid, all that stuff. To bring the medevac to base. From there, they almost lost him. I believe it was twice. They used a lot of blood on him. I can't remember how much, but they almost lost him twice on the operating table. So he ended up losing his from his hip down. And he was in good spirits, obviously. He says bad days and good days, but as of right now, he's in good spirits. I see him 3 or 4 times a year. I message him daily, always laughing, stuff like that, which is great. There's another ID. Name escapes me right now. I see his face. was also a reservist, court officer for Niagara. He was a warrant officer when his before he went overseas. We were doing our workup training together, and I was discussing my job as a court officer, and he's like, "Oh, your job is similar to my job." You know, that's how we kind of got to know each other. And when he got hit with an IED, it was really hard because it's like another familiar face. Man, he's like, I believe it happened in, I want to say February. And you're like, you got a couple more months left on your tour, right? Like, there's light at the end of the tunnel, and then another one. It's like, oh man. Some of his co-workers back home got really affected by that. I sent him an email while I was over there, and basically said, "Hey, listen, this is what happened to me. I lost my warrant officer. I still had to get back to work. You have to. Losing a loved one is horrible, but you have to look at it as, how do you think they want you to live your life? Do you want them to mourn them for the rest of your life? I see it as, life is so valuable, precious. You have to live it. And constantly dwelling in what happened to them, things like that, is, again, going to cause so much pain on yourself that it's not the life that they want you to live. So live your life. There's a great poem by Tecumseh. I'll see if I can find it and then I'll read it out. One of my favorite poems. That's the biggest thing. Even when people who lose loved ones outside of the whole war thing, and just with anything, cancer or natural causes, whatever the case is, like, you have to look at it. It's like, you have to live your life, and like, when you talk to the elders, like, after what they've gone through, the biggest thing they care about is just live your life, and that's key, I think. And they see all the small stuff they don't care about, and I agree 100%. So it's like all these little things, like, it doesn't bother me, right? Like, make a mountain over a mound, I don't bother. Guys who got hit with IEDs and lived, right? And then they're so grateful. And like, what, I'm glad I did, I made it, right? Yeah, this happened to me, but here I am. And then you hear stories. I think the stats are like, close to 100% of those who commit suicide, those that survive, whatever it is, however it was, how they tried to kill themselves and survived, regretted it. I mean, just think about that. If and when you're in that position, that state of mind where you feel like there's no way out, there's always a way out. Push through, and then you're gonna be that much stronger. It's as simple as that. I get it. There's some things I understand. I've never thought of wanting to kill myself, so I can never relate to something like that. But I think it's because I value life so much that I can never think of that. It does not make sense to me, right? I'm not trying to demean or minimize the incident or anything like that. I'm just trying to understand and ask questions, right? Guys from my tour, they try to commit suicide twice, some of them, right? And it's just, I'm trying to understand. I've taken certain guys like that into my own home and help them and just kind of tell them there's a way out, right? Don't worry about it. Just things like that. So I don't have a skin in the game, but I understand it. I just know there's a way out for a lot of these guys. And I hope they find it. I don't know. Reach out to me, the Stoic Global, on Instagram, and if you need someone to talk to, guidance, anything, support, anything, message me. Hit me on my DMs and message me. Like, there's always several people, multiple. There's always someone there to help. If you want to just, you want to hit the bottle, fine, hit the bottle, but do it with someone. Let it out. But then fix your shit. Deal with it. I'll post another video of Tecumseh in the next one, and we'll go from there. But just pulling up the work, and we'll talk later. Reach out to me, the Stoic Global, and on Instagram. Cheers, guys.